it's interesting that people of goodwill, and I think everybody on whatever side of the issue you are on this one is a person of goodwill, keep trying to tinker with the current system, and it's to my mind a little bit like, and I don't mean this directly, but it's like communism. You can't fix it. It will not be fixable. Sooner or later, you're going to have to try a new model, and that's why we're here today. Several college coaches that are well known have said that they're advocates for a playoff system. Urban Meyer, who's the head coach of the current national championship team, Florida, has stated in the past that he favors a playoff. Nick Saban, Pete Carroll, the head coach at Texas, Mack Brown. In May of 2008, one of the winningest college football coaches of all time, Joe Paterno, said, and I quote, "I think you ought to win it on the field. I've always been for a playoff," end quote. We didn't ask the coaches of Boise State or Utah to be here today, but if they were here and testifying, I think they would say they were for a playoff. There are countless coaches, even a few university presidents, and believe it or not, the president, President Obama, who have stated that they think we need to have a playoff, the same as we have in every other sport. The more I think about it, the more people I talk to who really know college football, it's clearer and clearer to me that the reason we don't have a playoff system is a very green reason. It's not green environmentally, it's green money. It's that simple. As Chairman Rush has said, $125 million television contract, and all the other contracts that are not through nationally but through regionally. It's just too much money being made this way, and people don't want to change that. This is interstate commerce. This committee has every right to regulate interstate commerce. The bill that I've introduced, that Chairman Rush is a co-sponsor of, doesn't say there has to be a playoff. It simply says if you're going to advertise it as a national championship series and a national championship game, it has to be the result of a playoff. Otherwise, it's a false and deceptive trade practice under the Federal Trade Act. So you couldn't advertise. You couldn't get the money. You couldn't sell the T-shirts. You couldn't do all those things that you do under the current system. So it's not Congress being dictatorial. It's Congress saying truth in advertising. If we're going to have a national championship game, a national championship team, it ought to be the result of a playoff. I do think that after today's hearing, we need to I have a piece of advice for the BCS coordinating board. You should either change your name to BES for Bowl Exhibition System, or just drop the C and call it the BS system, because it's not about determining the championship on the field. Now, I'm going to read some of Mr. Thompson's testimony, because to the average fan, this is the reason that people are so upset. His reason, Mr. Thompson's reason number 3, that the current system is flawed, is that the BCS is based on a flawed premise. Nearly half of the FBS teams are eliminated from the national championship before the season even begins. The current BCS system is based on a fundamentally flawed premise that computers and pollsters can look at 6 or 7 outstanding teams, all of whom have lost no more than one game, and few, if any, have ever played each other in that year, and decide which are the 2 best and should play in the national championship game. It's impossible to know which of those great teams are actually the best unless they play each other. Computers don't know, pollsters don't know, and the BCS surely doesn't know. Nearly half of the FBS teams are eliminated from the national championship even before the season begins. None of the 51 teams that play in the non-AQ conferences can, for all practical purposes, ever win a BCS national championship, given how the current system is constituted. These teams are, in effect, done before day one. A system that produces this result is patently unfair. I don't think that's a debatable proposition.